Thank you, Brother Roger. You know, I started school in the 50s. Yes, we had school in the 50s. For those of you younger people, didn't we, Brother Elsie? Didn't we have school in the 50s? We did. Real school. And you know, I, as a school boy, you know, or even as a child at home, my parents, thankfully, you know, they spoke about things because that's how people believed and how they behaved and acted, particularly on days regarding patriotism, service to country, and the like. And so as a young child, you know, I just grew up taking a lot of these things for granted, probably as most of us have done. And so when I got to school, it was no surprise that we stood and said the Pledge of Allegiance, or that we sang. We actually had songbooks that we had in our classroom, and the teacher would pass them out, and we had all the great hits, America and God Bless America, and we sang them. We even had little instruments sometimes. Somebody might just have, maybe I was an expert triangle player. You remember those? Anyway, we had music. We had a lot of culture there in the backwoods of Missouri, okay? And sometimes I'd play the triangle or whatever it might be at the right time. But we sang those songs, and we made our affirmation of our country, we made it public, and we made it every day that we met. And I just want to say, you know, that I've been preaching on Wednesday night. It says, if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? And I'm not here to preach today, but I just want to encourage you how we need to reinforce these things still. And if you're a homeschooler, man, I hope you say the pledges at home. I hope you take the time, somebody holds the flag, as we do here, whether it be Master Club or wherever. The kids, they clamor to be the one to hold the Bible, to hold the flag or whatever, to participate in that. And man, we want to keep that going. Amen. And because not all traditions are wrong or bad for you. So let's talk about this one. And I titled it, Lest We Forget. And the Pledge of Allegiance, do you know it was written back in August of 1892? I wasn't there, nor were any of you. Amen. And I thought it was very interesting as I did this little research. It was actually done by, and credit is given to, a socialist minister. He did not believe in capitalism. He believed in socialism, nigh unto communism, felt that capitalism was greed and part of the problems found in the world, in spite of what his Bible said about those matters. And but nonetheless, it was originally penned by him. His name is Francis Bellamy, and it was published in the Youth's Companion in 1892, and he wrote this in sort of a generic way, hoping that this pledge might be spoken and repeated in every country around the world. And it was a little bit sterile, and it said this: I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There was neither mention of America nor mention of God. And I thought that interesting from a man who claimed to be a minister of the gospel. It just shows you there's nothing new under the sun. And so that's how its original form read. In 1923, the words, the flag of the United States of America, were added. And as you know, it reads like this, that we're going to do here and recite in just a little bit. It says, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So what's missing from the 1923 version? Under God. Under God. Do you know why that came about? That came about because we had a president who made a profession of faith in 1953. That president was Dwight D. Eisenhower. And he, if you will, he became a member, was baptized into the Presbyterian Church in 1953. Having had a discussion with someone, somebody suggested to him that we ought to be adding, I suppose through his church circle, that we should be doing something about adding God to our pledge. And in 1954, he prompted the legislation that Congress subsequently passed and presented to him as a bill in I believe it was submitted in February, and then on Flag Day on June 14th of 1954, he signed it into law. And the words "under God" were added. And the reason for that, in 1954, man, the Red Scare was on. Some of you remember that, don't you? My parents were so concerned about it that they had me learn to speak Russian. They thought it might be helpful. And I took it in the second grade all the way up through college. Went there in 1969, visited. I promise you, I have no allegiances to Putin or Stalin or Marxist or any of that wicked, God-hating philosophy. Even as a lost man, I didn't believe like that. And I'm just saying, but that's how intense the atmosphere was. And Eisenhower knew that that was a godless society where the gospel was not welcomed. And so therefore he said this. He said when he signed the act there on Flag Day, he said, and this is a quote, "From this day forward, the millions of our school children will daily proclaim in every city and town, every village and rural schoolhouse, the dedication of our nation and our people to the Almighty. In this way, we are reaffirming the transcendence of religious faith in America's heritage and future. In this way, we shall constantly strengthen those spiritual weapons which forever will be our country's most powerful resource, in peace or in war." Amen. And yet, I want you to know there's still an element out there today that would like to do away with it. There's a group out there called the Humanists. And some of their professors, one of them a Harvard professor, and I'll give you his name if you want it later, I won't for the sake of time. Dr. Adrian Rogers quoted from him in one of his classes, a speech that he made to his future teaching students. And he said this: "Every child in America entering school at the age of 5 is mentally ill. Every child in America entering school at the age of 5 is mentally ill because he comes to school with certain allegiances toward our founding fathers, toward our elected officials, toward his parents, toward a belief in a supernatural being, toward the sovereignty of his nation as a separate entity. It's up to you, teachers, to make all these sick children well by creating the international child of the future." I remember B.F. Skinner is the professor at Harvard. And I remember someone asking him, said, "How can you do this to these children? How can you get away with this?" And he just politely said from the rostrum, he said, "We can do it because we have the kids." And so, beloved, lest we forget, we're privileged to meet here, brother. And I'll tell you, if I go to a ball game or when I do and I hear the national anthem, I still get a lump in my throat. When I watch a military parade or I see those men in uniform, it does something to me on the inside.